Welcome back, young scholars, sports marketeers, for the second half of Chapter 6. We talk about the sports product. Excuse me. So, why people use and buy a product is, of course, an important question to answer, right? And requires an examination of the consumers and how they use a product or why they buy. In this case, we're talking about sports. Adapt is responding to the needs by making changes, right? Hopefully to make it better. This is kind of the model of how it should work. And then it's always better to nibble before you bite. Experiment to see, whatever enhancements you've added to the product, determine their impact on the consumer's perception of value. They find any value in it. And then you would move back around, and this would go around and around. And some things would be smart and good, and some things wouldn't be, right? During that process, when you would understand that. Let's talk about types of innovation, all right? Most innovations, let's say this, continuous and dynamically continuous, right, are considered evolutionary. In other words, they're steps. Say like an iPhone, not the first ones, but the last 3 or 4 that have come out. They are better than the one before, but it's not a revolutionary innovation because it's still an iPhone. They've just added a better camera. When the first iPhones came out, that was a revolutionary, new to the world product, and that was a discontinuous innovation. Evolutionary types of the most innovations occur over here. They're just slightly better than the one before. So continuous innovation is making minor adaptations, least amount of new value. Most products are continuous innovations. Laundry detergent, when they remove the scent out of it and add, I don't know, color block or stain blocker or something, it's still detergent, but they're just making it a little bit better. Lower risk because, Tide detergent is still Tide detergent, even if it's a new formulation. And it takes the least amount of creativity for continuous innovation, making things better. Dynamically continuous innovation. I don't know if the textbook makes this example or not, but I've heard it made a bunch with arena football. Arena football comes into, let's say, Gwinnett County. People are familiar with football, right? They may not be completely familiar with arena football because it's a bit different. So that's a good example of a dynamically continuous innovation. You may have a higher penetration challenge because people have to learn about it. Are they going to be interested? Are they going to get the same level? Whatever they were looking for from a sporting event before. Was it entertainment? Was it competition? And it's a variation of football. And, it takes a little bit to learn, the rules and what's going on. Discontinuous innovation are very few, right? These are new to the world innovations, and we don't get those all the time, right? But they can change buyer behavior. Technology plays a big role in creating discontinuous innovation, but it's not the only source. It's very rare, and when it happens, you know it. It's not like buying the iPhone X, I think the XR or whatever. That's not a discontinuous innovation. When the first iPhone came out, that was. Under Armour was. I just love this picture of Tom Brady with the ponytail, or the mud flap. Uh, Under Armour was the first company to develop this moisture absorbing shirt, the wicking shirt, and it created it spawned a whole new uh, group of products in performance apparel. It was a new to the world product. It was brand new, and nothing like it had existed before. So that's a good example. So what influences whether people adopt an innovation or not? Well, relative advantage, compatibility, complexity, and can we try it out? They'll all affect. So the first thing is it something, right? Is it a thing? Uh, when we bring it out, does it really exist? Is it relevant, right? Does the advantage that you say it has, does it matter to people? If you say that, we're going to start doing this at our soccer games, does it matter to people? If it doesn't, then, what kind of advantage is that? And recognizable. Whatever the difference is, it's got to be able to be seen by the target market and perceived as an advantage. If they don't perceive it as an advantage, you can try to sell it as an advantage all day long. But if it's not perceived as one by the consumers, it's not going to be one. Compatibility. Is it compatible with our value system, our beliefs, our behaviors, lifestyles? Think of the XFL or the World Football League. There's been a lot of upstart football leagues. None of them have ever worked because they just didn't quite fit in. And it's a very, as it says, the first bullet point, it's a crucial factor. If it doesn't fit in, it's just weird enough, might be tough for people to adopt that innovation. How complex is it? The more difficult things are to understand, the harder it is to get them to do it. Right? That's just kind of true in life. If you're bringing a new sport to a city, if it's really hard to understand because nobody has an experience with it, it's going to be tough to sell tickets. When hockey started expanding in the South, Tampa Bay and the Thrashers and Raleigh, the Hurricanes, and Nashville. Anyway, the NHL started having seminars, free seminars you could go to in those towns. Women and men, children, and they explained the rules and how the game worked for people who didn't grow up with hockey. That's one way that they sought to reduce the complexity of it. And if you remember, I've also posted the NHL teamed up with Snoop to explain some of the rules of hockey. Because when people understand the rules, it's a great game. If you don't, then it's not much fun to watch a game that you don't know really what's happening. Can you try it? It's always better to nibble before you bite, right? And to try something out before you go, whole hog. That's why every time you go in the grocery store, they've got people setting up sampling stations, right? I might not be interested in buying those meatballs. Let me taste one. That tastes pretty good. I'll buy a pack of them. I'm just not going to buy a pack of a new brand, sight unseen. And when it's a new product, people want to experience it first a little bit. People may not want to buy a car over the internet, but Carvana, that's their business. So all their ads concern themselves with, hey, you know, you buy it, take it on a trip. If you don't like it, we'll come pick it up. Right? That reduces risk and it's more people to maybe look at the adoption. So how do we connect, you know, target market characteristics with new products? So we've got some target markets out there, and we've got a new product. So we can expand our existing customer relationships. So we've already got customers coming to see the Falcons. How can we get them to also come and see the MLS club, Atlanta United? Right? Or we could attract new customers. Say, we don't think these customers overlap in a Venn diagram. We're going to attract new customers in the Atlanta market to Atlanta United that have never been to a Falcons game ever. Or we can just break into new markets, completely new markets, right? So those are kind of our options. So we already have a relationship with customers if we choose to expand our existing relationships. They're familiar with us, we're familiar with them. In the case of the Falcons and Atlanta United, they're both Arthur Blank properties. People know who Arthur Blank is. They know the product he wants to put on the field. They know what the customer service is like. They may already have an affinity for the brand. And if they've got a positive feel for Arthur Blank and the Atlanta Falcons organization, then those will transfer, or they may transfer. Generally, they will if they're positive. We can try to attract fans of other sports, cross-marketing. Customers that have low interest, right? We can make it low risk and cheap for them to come in the early stages of the enterprise. And we could link up non-sports entities with it as well, or enter new markets. We don't think there's a market for that here. Is there a market for that in Nashville? Is there a market for that in Jacksonville? It could be a geographic area, complete new city, or it could be a completely different demographic group, right? There we go for a different cohort. And we can introduce new products, old products into new markets, or a mix of both, right? So that completes chapter 6 of the sports product part 2. All right. Stay safe out there. And you know, I'll be seeing you on the internet.